Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this Monday's edition of Alaska Weather on this 10th day of May 2021. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. Up first here, we've got on the breakup map, Circle has a flood watch out for until this evening, into this evening. And that's due to multiple ice jams upstream from Circle there, and high water when the release takes place. That'll result in high water that could cause flooding at Circle again through this evening. Then the threat will be over once that passes on by. Otherwise, still kind of slowly breaking up in areas or thinning out of the ice on down the Yukon River. The delta, though, pretty well solid, and then, of course, off to the northwest and the North Slope River is still pretty much iced up, while the southern ones are really opening up pretty nicely. And for the area, there's that's the hazardous weather graphic showing the flood watch area there at Circle. This happens to illuminate the entire Yukon Flats, but other than that, there are no watches, warnings, advisories out around the state for tonight, tomorrow, and probably the next couple of days. Satellite imagery shows some clearing over the central interior along the Yukon River, especially up into the Yukon Flats. Warmest temperatures occurred just to the south there in the greater Fairbanks area this afternoon. They had 65 degrees at the airport. That was a warm spot in the state today. And the cold spot was up on the eastern Multimedia coast with temperatures running 19 degrees at Kaparek and Dead Horse, as well as New Wixit. All 19, just barely having trouble reaching 20 degrees. Otherwise, you can see a front approaching the central and south coast of the Panhandle. Otherwise, cloudy skies for the southeast coast. Not a lot of rain yet, but it's starting to increase and should push in. And areas of light rain or showers along the North Gulf Coast. Kodiak Island picked up about a third of an inch of rain in the last 12 hours today. That was one of the heavier amounts. Cape Newenham had a quarter of an inch back along the southwest coast there. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, the Alaska Peninsula with some showers. Actually, looked like some clearing around Unalaska Island today. Eastern Aleutian's not too bad. Some scattered showers around. Generally cloudy out there over the Bering Sea with a few breaks, but pretty few and far between there. And that extends all the way up into the northern Bering Sea as well, to the Arctic coast. Maybe a few breaks there over the Noatak Valley. And up in toward Arctic Village, Eastern Brooks Range, looks like some clearing taking place there, even into the eastern North Slope area. Otherwise, another system pretty weak there over the northern Bering Sea, resulting in the clouds and showers, a couple of weak troughs into the Alaska Peninsula, and some showers along the southwest coast, but nothing more than a few hundredths of an inch at most there. A little wetter Kodiak Island, as I mentioned, and had some light rain today around Valdez, North Gulf Coast, but only 5/100ths of an inch fell both at Seward and Valdez in the last 12 hours, ending at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Yakutat didn't pick up any precipitation at all. It's either to your west or to the east and southeast, but very close, and you probably won't escape the night with being rain-free. You'll probably pick up some moisture at some point in the night tonight. Gusty winds 30 miles an hour at Delta Junction, and some temperatures rising in the mid-60s, kind of getting warm enough to trigger some shower buildups here this afternoon over the mountains to the north and east of Fairbanks, and then back into the Sunshine Yukon Flats area. For tonight, you'll see still that front edges in toward the Panhandle, so rain will be on the increase tonight across the entire area from Dixon Entrance right up along into Lynn Canal Glacier Bay, but it won't be that heavy. In the North Gulf Coast, periods of light rain tonight, with that front kind of lifting northward there. Some rain into Prince William Sound. Showers, central eastern Copper River Basin, especially around the Wrangell Mountains. Chance of showers up across the eastern Alaska Range, Northway Toke, Chicken, up to possibly Eagle. Just a risk of a shower. Otherwise, dry conditions in the interior and mild with light winds. Risk of some flurries and fog for the eastern Beaufort coast. Otherwise, it'll remain dry up there with winds not much of a problem. And skies will be mostly cloudy. And chance of showers over the Kuskokwim Valley, as well as the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta into Bristol Bay, but just very isolated showers for the deltas. And Seward Peninsula dry with some clearing. And the Bering Sea there, kind of in a break there with a couple of lows and frontal boundaries out to the west. The one to the north there really washes out for tomorrow. You can see this kind of drifts into the northern Bering there with a chance of showers maybe reaching Nunivak Island, but staying south of St. Lawrence Island, north of the Pribilof. Could see some Maybe some sun breaks for the Pribilofs tomorrow. The next front to that other one holds together a little better, 994 millibar center, southwest of Shimian-Attu. The front spreading rain trying to get into the AKwx area, but might take until evening to do that. Otherwise, high pressure, light winds, maybe some sunshine for the eastern Aleutians, western Alaska Peninsula, showers for the Aleutian Range, chance of, and mostly cloudy with maybe some light rain or showers, but nothing heavy if there for Kodiak Island, that low center right on top of Fognak Island. And chance of rain and clouds continues for the Prince William Sound area, Kenai Peninsula, showers south central Alaska. And a few more clouds and a better chance of showers up in the central interior, Copper River Basin, and showery for the Panhandle, decreasing in the afternoon. Weak high pressure trying to build in. Chance of snow showers east and Beaufort Sea coast. Outlook for Wednesday. High pressure there up west of Banks Island over the Arctic. That's kind of tightens the gradient up a little bit there and produces an offshore wind flow, which probably will clear it out for the western North Slope. So mostly sunny skies, the way that looks for the, hopefully, optimistically for the Arctic coast, especially the western Arctic coast and most of the North Slope. Chance of showers there, maybe in toward, Arctic Village and the Brooks Range, northern Koyukuk Valley, and mostly cloudy with showers for the central interior areas. And also for Copper River Basin and the Matanuska Valley, Kenai Peninsula, chance of some scattered shower activity, cloudy skies, light winds, and dry for Kodiak with mostly cloudy skies. Chance of showers now for the northern Panhandle. Maybe some sunshine, southern southeast coast. Break along the southwest coast into the northern Bering. That front pushing eastward brings rain into the eastern Aleutians and the Pribilofs. Pribilofs in the afternoon, probably by morning for the Fox Islands. And then kind of a widespread area of rain and clouds there, but wind's not a problem for the Aleutians with that low pressure center just west of Kiska Island, and another trough bringing another round of rain, kind of enhanced area rain into the AKwx area. Otherwise, looking at the lows for tonight, lower to mid 40s for the Panhandle and upper 30s to lower 40s for Kodiak Island, south central Alaska, mid to upper 30s Copper River Basin, upper 30s Bristol Bay, lower 40s Kuskokwim Valley. Up in the interior, we've got kind of a range for the lows, mid-30s to lower 40s through the Tanana Valley, mostly in the mid-30s for the Koyukuk Valley, Yukon Flats, and mid-20s there for the Brooks Range, and then probably 15 to 23 there for the North Slope, with lower to mid-teens out over the central and eastern Arctic coast, in the 20s to the west to lower 30s around Kotzebue, mid-30s for the Nome area, south side of the Seward Peninsula, lower 30s from Shishmaref to, from Tin City to Gamble, 27 for Shishmaref, and then near 40 along the lower Yukon River to lower 30s along the coast, mid-30s Pribilofs, mid to upper 30s for the Aleutians to near 40 for the Alaska Peninsula. Highs for tomorrow, lower to mid-50s for the southern Panhandle, maybe upper 50s, but generally into the 50s, much of the southeast coast, upper 40s for the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, Kachemak Bay, Homer, Seldovia, Kodiak in the mid-40s. 55, mid-50s to maybe 60s to Sitna Valley, Copper River Basin, Kuskokwim Valley, upper 40s to mid-50s for Bristol Bay. Up in the interior there, let me go the right direction here, into 60, 65 again over the central interior, much like today, near 60 for the Yukon Flats, upper 30s and mid-40s for the Brooks Range. In the 20s now, should be a little warmer there, 20 for the central Arctic coast, maybe upper 20s on the east side there, lower 30s for Point Lay. In the 30s for the Seward Peninsula. Inland areas of the Seward Peninsula, 45 to 50. And heading southwest in the 50s, Yukon Kuskokwim Delta, 40s over the Bering Sea. And looking at Wednesday morning lows, Copper River Basin down to near or just above the frost point there, 33 at Gulkana, upper 30s, lower 40s, south central Alaska, mid to upper 30s, Bristol Bay, upper 30s, Kodiak, lower 40s for the southeast coast, Kuskokwim Valley, upper 30s near 40, and 35 to 41, say, for the central interior, 20s back for the Brooks Range, and 10 to 15 for the central eastern Arctic coast, North Slope, lower to mid-20s to the west, with upper 20s down into the Bering Strait, and lower 30s south of that area, and mid-30s for the Pribilofs, upper 30s the Aleutians, 35 to 40 for the Alaska Peninsula, near 40 for the southern Kuskokwim Valley. Highs for Wednesday, 50s, southern Alaska, 50 to 55, maybe pushing towards 60 for the McGrath area, 50s for the Panhandle, 55 to 60, central interior, a little cooler.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Moving on to flying weather for tomorrow morning. We've got a zone of VFR, most of the Seward Peninsula, across Norton Sound down to the lower Yukon River, and then eastward right over to the border into the Yukon. To the south, marginal VFR, southern Alaska, some areas of VFR, northern Cook Inlet, part of the Matanuska Valley, Susitna Valley a little bit, and the Copper River Basin, IFR Kodiak Island, and some IFR there roughly from Elephant Cove to near Yakutat, otherwise marginal VFR for the Panhandle, Adak and Atka VFR, otherwise IFR for the remainder of the Aleutians, all of the Bering Sea through the Bering Strait and linking up with that batch up there over the northern part of the state. And for the afternoon, let's see, looking still IFR, but not quite as extensive up over the North Slope. It's still covering the Arctic coast, most of the North Slope, and IFR central Bering Sea now down along the southwest coast and western Norton Sound. Not quite making it to the Alaska Peninsula, marginal VFR, Bristol Bay, southwest interior, and across the central northern Kuskokwim Valley to the western Alaska Range, and then improving actually throughout the afternoon, southern Alaska, but holding marginal for Kodiak Island, or becoming marginal for Kodiak Island, and Prince William Sound. IFR from about Cordova eastward to Yakutat and maybe into Elephant Cove, otherwise VFR for the Panhandle, VFR Atka, Fox Islands, Pribilofs, and Alaska Peninsula. And then for the morning on Wednesday, still some IFR in the central interior with pretty much solid IFR, northern Kobuk, Koyukuk Valley, especially the Brooks Range on out to the Arctic coast, and extends down across the northwest coast, Seward Peninsula, Bering Strait, St. Lawrence Island, on down to near just west of the Pribilofs, covering all of the Aleutians. VFR, Yukon Kuskokwim Delta, Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula, including Nunivak Island, Kodiak, VFR. Narrow band of IFR there across southern Cook Inlet from Kachemak Bay right on up to the western Alaska Range, almost probably making it to near Denali. Otherwise, some marginal VFR with VFR over the eastern southeast interior. IFR, North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, southern Kenai Peninsula, Resurrection Bay, and into at least Passage Canal, maybe even, or Whittier, and possibly Portage over to Yakutat, VFR for the Panhandle. And in the afternoon, VFR holds over the southeast coast, roughly again from Elephant Cove to near Yakutat, IFR, marginal VFR, up into the southern eastern Copper River Basin, especially the Wrangell Mountains, VFR northern Cook Inlet, Matanuska Susitna Valley, on up across the central eastern Alaska Range, but got some afternoon IFR for some reason up there over the from the looks like Chena up possibly in toward Eagle. Otherwise VFR up that way, and IFR from the northwest coast, say Point Hope down to the Seward Peninsula, and just about all the Bering Sea, Pribilofs, Aleutians, but VFR for the Alaska Peninsula and Bristol Bay and Kodiak Island. And for passes, Anatuvik for marginal VFR for Anatuvik, and Adigan, marginal becoming VFR, and Lake Clark and Merrill, slowest conditions in the morning, best into the afternoon toward evening, possibly VFR, and rainy, occasionally marginal at times throughout the day, windy, marginal VFR, possible in southern entrance, otherwise VFR. Isabel, VFR, Mintesta, looks good. Tanita, possible marginal VFR at times, actually throughout the entire day. And for Portage, marginal. Chilkoot and White, marginal VFR becomes VFR. Freezing levels 4,000 to 6,000 feet, central and northern interior there, south of the Brooks Range. 2,000 feet, cooler air aloft now coming in over the Gulf of Alaska, south central Alaska, northern Panhandle. 2,000 to 6,000 feet over the Aleutians. And icing, could be some considerable moderate rime or mixed icing up there near Prince William Sound, otherwise light to isolated moderate with the next system coming into the western Aleutians to Adak, but nothing too serious. Possible at least the threat of some icing of probably a mixed variety there for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast and maybe the Panhandle. Jet stream, kind of some ridging out over the Bering Sea, weak ahead of the next trough complex there farther to the west. So 60-knot winds, and then southwest flow into the southern Panhandle. And at 9,000 feet, high pressure and a weak low coming up into the Kenai Peninsula, 20 to 25 knot winds there, 30 knots across the Aleutians, west central Bering, 35 knots there across the west central Aleutians with that system. Otherwise, pretty light and variable across the eastern Bering Sea, Gulf of Alaska. We're looking at 20 knots there, well southeast of Kodiak. Light winds for the Panhandle, really light winds much of the interior. A little breezy on the western central Arctic coast. Turbulence-wise, not much of a turbulence day, kind of a no turbulence day. Maybe some light to isolated moderate chop for small aircraft there, the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, and from Atka maybe to Kiska.
Just as the sun is part of weather on Earth, it also affects weather in space. The sun creates solar wind by steadily releasing a flow of plasma particles in all directions around it. Sometimes the sun gives off a flash of light and X-rays. This is known as a solar flare. When massive bursts of particles explode into space, we call it a coronal mass ejection, or CME. When a CME is directed toward Earth, it hits the magnetosphere, the magnetic field around our planet that protects us. If the storm is large, we may even get to enjoy a light display in the sky called the auroras. In space, satellites may be damaged, and astronauts should take cover. On Earth, people do not feel any physical effects. We may lose electricity in some areas, polar flights may be rerouted, and satellite services may be disrupted. While these situations aren't ideal, they are rare and fixable. This is why we will continue to study the sun and its interactions with Earth and the solar system.
Longing for more space, open skies, and exotic travel? Then look up, about 30 to 600 miles straight up, at the ionosphere, Earth's interface to space. Nestled far above the clouds but below outer space, this little understood destination invites you to explore its many features. Experience both the weather from Earth and the weather from space. Marvel at the ballet of radio waves and navigation signals, like GPS, leaping through this particle paradise. Sit back, relax, and take in the aurora, some satellites, and the International Space Station as they sail by. And you'll want your camera handy for one of the region's signature features, bright and colorful air glow. This daily show is made possible by the ionosphere's own swarming charged particles, because that's what the ionosphere is. It's all charged particles. During the day, enjoy the sea of particles, freshly energized by the sun. As the sun sets, this particle party relaxes and the air glow thins. Our quieter nightlife lets you gaze into clearer skies. The ionosphere is in constant motion, an amazing effect of space weather. Don't miss when solar storms rain down. The storm separates the particles even more, making this colorful region delightfully more dense in some places and stunningly sparse in others. And don't forget about storms from Earth below. Your weather from back home also stirs up this one-of-a-kind destination. Experience the unique beauty of every season, as changes in Earth's atmosphere, daily and annually, can create pressure waves, changing the ionosphere's shape and density. Venture to the equator, where our particles are packed in lush and thick. Cruise along a magnetic field line and see how the ionosphere's charged material also interacts with Earth's own magnetic field. Don't miss the superhighway of particles zipping out to space and back down to the planet. This unpredictable parade of charged particles can help you unplug and unwind. This is because the crowd of particles can garble the radio and satellite communications from home. The ionosphere welcomes you to discover more about this little-known region. After all, once you've explored this interface to space, who knows how much farther you'll be able to go.
When a star, bigger and more massive than the Sun, runs out of fuel at the end of its life, its core collapses while the outer layers are blown off in a supernova explosion. What's left behind depends on the star's original mass. A star roughly 10 to 20 times our Sun leaves behind a neutron star. A more massive star becomes a black hole. Unlike black holes, neutron stars are directly observable, usually as pulsars, the lighthouses of the cosmos. Discovered 50 years ago, they are the densest observable objects in the universe. Neutron stars compress up to twice the sun's mass into a city-sized sphere. Matter is packed so tightly that a teaspoon of neutron star interior would weigh more than 1 billion tons on Earth. Still, the nature of the ultra-dense matter in the cores of neutron stars is unknown. Because neutron stars pack so much mass into such a tiny volume, they produce gravity strong enough to bend the light they emit, distorting their appearance in a way that enables the mass and size of the star to be measured. Scientists cannot reproduce the extreme conditions in and around neutron stars on Earth. They must look into the galaxy to answer decades-old questions about extreme matter and gravity. NASA's Neutron Star Interior Composition Explorer mission, or NISA, will make X-ray observations of neutron stars from its perch on the International Space Station. It will give astronomers more insight into these mysterious objects, helping determine what is under their surface. A multi-purpose mission, NISA includes a technology demonstration called Sextant. It will analyze NISA's observations to validate the use of rapidly rotating neutron stars as navigation beacons for travel in deep space throughout the solar system and beyond.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Today's sea ice analysis continuing to slowly dissolve, especially along the southwest coast, with Kuskokwim Bay just about open now, and diminishing ice around Nunivak Island, and virtually no ice left around St. Matthew Island, thinning out along the southwest coast, and all the way up into the Bering Strait to the western Arctic coast, still slowly thinning out. And for the coastal water forecasts, we've got small craft advisories out along the outer coastline. South 25 to 30 knots on the south coast, the north coast southeast 25 to 30 knots, seas running 10 to 12 feet. And for the inside waters, south to southeast winds 15 knots with seas 3 feet. Outlook for Tuesday, central southern inside waters, variable winds at 10 knots, seas slight, and south 15 for Lynn Canal with 3-foot seas. West-northwest breeze at 10 knots with 6-foot seas on the south coast, and then turning west to south as you head northward along the coastline about 15 knots with 10-foot seas. Prince William Sound, Cook Inlet, northeast at 10 tomorrow, seas 2 to 3 feet. Small craft advisories for Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands and the eastern North Gulf Coast, all having east winds at 25 knots with 6 to 9-foot seas. Western North Gulf Coast, east at 20 with 6-foot seas. And for Tuesday, north variable to north at about 10 knots for Cook Inlet with seas 2 feet, and southeast 10 knots for the Barren Islands, Kamishak Bay with 2 to 6-foot seas, and northeast 20 knots, 8-foot seas for the western North Gulf Coast, east side there on Middleton Island, southeast at 20 with 9-foot seas. So small craft advisories due to the sea heights, and Prince William Sound east winds 15 knots. Kodiak Island, east to southeast breeze tomorrow, 15 knots, 4 to 7-foot seas. Sitkinak to Cape Saricha, south side of the Alaska Peninsula, Pacific side, south 15 knots, 7-foot seas. Top side there, east at 10 with 3-foot seas, in Bristol Bay, 15 knots from the southeast. And then for Tuesday, variable winds, 10 knots for the Alaska Peninsula, Bristol Bay, southwest at 10. And kind of a southwest breeze actually from Cape Saricha right up to Sitkinak, up the east side of Kodiak Island, Shelikof Strait, all southwest 10 knots with Shelikof Strait seas running about 2 feet, 6 to 7 feet there from Kodiak and the Pacific side of the peninsula. Fox Island, southeast winds at 10 knots tomorrow. Same thing for the Adak southeast at 10. Also for Amchitka Island, southeast 10. Kiska, Shimianatu, southwest 15. So really laid down on the winds there for the Aleutians. That picks up a little bit on Tuesday. Got some small craft advisories back in the forecast. South to southeast 25 for Adak, southeast 25 Amchitka Island. Unmak Island, southerlies 20 to 25 knots, and southwest 15 for Unalaska Island. And moving to the southwest coast, let's see, Yukon Delta Coast, east winds tomorrow 15 knots, 2-foot seas, southeast 15 for the Kuskokwim Delta Coast with 3-foot seas, light southeast breeze at 10 with 3-foot seas for the Pribilofs, northeast 15, seas 3 feet, St. Matthew Island, St. Lawrence Island, northeast at 20, Norton Sound east at 15. Those come down just about no wind, but we'll call it east at 5 for Norton Sound. St. Lawrence Island, east winds 20 knots, and Yukon Delta Coast, southeast winds 15 knots. Same forecast for the northern Bering Sea, St. Matthew Island area, southeast 15, and Yukon Delta Coast and the Pribilos, looking at light south winds at 10 knots with just 1 to 3 foot seas. Central eastern Beaufort Sea coast, east winds 20 knots tomorrow, and 15 knots on the western coast, and from Cape Beaufort to Wales, northeast breeze at 10 knots. And then on Tuesday, Wales to Cape Thompson, northeast at 10, Cape Thompson to Cape Beaufort, northeast 15, western Arctic coast east at 20, central coast east 15, then back to 20 knot winds from the east for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast to demarcation point. And for tonight, maybe some flurries and fog there in the eastern Beaufort Sea coastal areas, but that's about it. Winds pretty light, variably cloudy to mostly cloudy, to maybe some patchy fog, and otherwise dry over the central northern interior. Chance of showers there over towards, from about Eagle southward to Northway Toke, probably to the east of Delta Junction. And in the Copper River Basin, chance of rain increases for the Panhandle as that front moves in. It stays damp and unsettled with another weak low affecting Kodiak Island. Kind of a break there over the eastern Bering Sea. A couple of systems out west tomorrow. The one really washes out and drifts into the northern Bering there. Just chance of showers staying south of St. Lawrence Island. Showers and cloudy skies, southern half of the state, northern half a little clearings. Chance of snow showers, Arctic coast. Chance of showers in the Panhandle. Chance of sunshine, southern Panhandle on Wednesday. Otherwise showery and cloudy over much of interior Alaska.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.